Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
Elizabeth MP Dr. Dwayne Sands claims he is trying to take over the F&M Imaginary.
Prime Minister Minnis says a clinic being constructed in San Salvador won't open anytime soon. That story is straight ahead.
The opposition criticizes the government's handling of the healthcare system.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, Member of Parliament for Elizabeth, Dr. Dwayne Sands, today defending Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis and his ability to lead the Free National Movement. Sands calls recent rumors that he's gunning for Minnis's job untrue, insisting the Prime Minister has his full support. Jasmine Brown reports.
Sands denied that there are any attempts to take over the party's leadership, as he also expressed his support for Dr. Minnis. Sands laughed off what he called imaginary rumors that indicate he and others in the F&M are trying to overthrow Dr. Minnis as leader of the Free National Movement.
Hitting you as the leader?
No truth at all. No truth at all.
Since becoming F&M leader in 2012, Minnis survived two challenges to his leadership in the span of 2 years, one in 2014 and the other in 2016. During the most recent attempt in July 2016, Sands was the running mate of former Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner. Butler Turner challenged Minnis for the party's top post during the party's convention. Despite his support for Minnis's challenger in the past, Sands insisted Minnis is the right man to lead the party.
I certainly have great confidence in the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I hope that he has confidence in me, but I can say categorically that Dwayne Sands is not involved in any imaginary coup, and I am not aware of any coup at all.
In recent months, there have been rumblings that some in the F&M are not happy with Dr. Minnis' leadership. Last week, F&M Chairman Carl Culmer said the F&M is headed in the right direction. Culmer's comments came as he downplayed the implications of Centerville MP Reece Chipman's decision to explore possible grounds to sue the Prime Minister for defamation after he was fired as chairman of the Antiquities, Monuments and Museum Corporation. Culmer insisted F&Ms are united behind Minnis, despite rumblings of concern within the party about the government's handling of certain matters in recent months. The F&M chairman added that suggestions of a rift are nothing more than political mischief. Sands agreed and went even further as he insisted those behind the rumors are idle.
You know, idle hands clearly is the devil's work, eh?
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis slamming the construction of a new clinic on San Salvador, insisting that the island is already well equipped with a healthcare facility. Jared Higgs has that.
This clinic being constructed has all the markings of a building ready to service a community, except it won't. Prime Minister Minnis toured the site during an Easter weekend visit to the island, where he told the contractor flat out that the clinic he was working on was an unnecessary infrastructure development, considering that the existing clinic is in excellent condition and only employs 3 members of staff. Minnis suggested that the island's Member of Parliament and former Works Minister Phillip Davis was influential in the decision to construct the new facility.
Make a decision. We have a clinic with huge, almost a mini hospital. Well designed, well built. We don't have staff for that, and we build another one.
Well, I guess I encourage more nurses and doctors to come to the island.
We can't for the first right. Anyhow, bring them to take care of you all, man.
Minnis went further when addressing residents at a town hall meeting on the island later that day. To some supporting applause, he described the current clinic as having inadequate staff, including 1 doctor working 24 hours a day and equipment such as an x-ray machine that hasn't been used in 7 years.
So imagine if you have a state-of-the-art clinic today, similar to those in Nassau, you have that today. Why in God's name would I want to build another one? And I don't have staff for the first one.
Minnis ultimately submitting the strong possibility that the clinic will collect dust once completed.
We do not have staff for one. Another one is being built. Can't stop it, has to finish. Another one is being built. We can open that right away. and take the 3 staff that we have and divide that 1.5 here and 1.5 there. That's what you want? No. So, it would stand to reason that your clinic may possibly be closed for a while. And let's concentrate on doing and improving what we have.
The opening of a newly renovated clinic in West End back in October was described as a red-letter day by Prime Minister Minnis. The difference in reaction from Minnis is more than likely down to the difference in population between the two communities in question. West End, with its population of 13,000, can possibly make a more convincing argument that it needs a new clinic compared to San Salvador, whose population usually hovers below 1,000 people. Reporting for our news, I'm Jared Higgs.
And the opposition is responding to government's decision not to open that Family Island clinic. Our Jillian Gray has that.
Area MP for San Salvador, Phillip Davis, called Dr. Minnis' announcement deeply disturbing and said not using the newly constructed clinic would be a colossal waste of tax dollars.
To read this morning the comments of the Prime Minister is rather distressing, and I hope to look into the matter further and have a conversation about that.
Davis, who said he only learned of the decision through reading the newspaper, praised the clinic as a needed commodity for the constituents of San Salvador and said he's wondering why he was not at least notified of the decision.
I would have expected courtesy to at least discuss it with me before a decision is taken. In fact, I was rather disappointed that the Prime Minister went into the community. I suspect if it was a political trip, fine. But if it was an official trip, the very least he should have done was to let me know that he was going, invite me to determine whether I was able to make it.
During Dr. Minnis' trip to San Salvador, he addressed residents about several issues facing the island, including the state of the clinic. Davis said he plans to meet with the Prime Minister on the matter before commenting further, but did comment on the state of the healthcare system, which he says has gotten worse.
The state of healthcare has worsened under Dr. Sands. I offer a few examples. They closed the Coconut Grove Clinic. Why? They alarmed that government had not secured sufficient medicine for HIV patients. Why? The failure of the department to supply needed ventilation equipment for intensive care patients. Why?
Davis also criticized the government's move to conduct an audit of PHA and asked just how much that audit is going to cost.
They could find thousands of dollars for an audit report, but cannot find $13,000 to buy a ventilating machine for patients. And as for audits to date, what are the costs of these audits?
Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands has said that the audit is not a witch hunt, but instead a search to see whether the contracts given by the former administration were done illegally and abnormally. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
Well, the government has paid off a $250,000 bill to the company that supplies the country with HIV medication and testing material. That's according to Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands, who earlier this month revealed that several public health care facilities in New Providence had exhausted their supply of certain HIV medications.
We're expecting that the definitive order, which was some $260,000 worth of HIV medication, as well as the reagents to test for the CD4 levels and viral loads, that would have been paid for. That would have been, all told, almost $320,000 of outlay in order to maintain the capacity to both treat and test for HIV.
Since then, some supplies have arrived. However, the health minister says there are still a few more weeks before the supply of certain HIV medications are restored to par levels. Sands says moving forward, officials believe the cost of the medication will only increase as health officials seek to make treatment more readily available to those infected with HIV.
With the new initiative, the 90-90-90 initiative, there is going to be an escalating demand for HIV medication, as well as an escalating demand for testing ability, lab reagents, and lab equipment. So what budget might have applied last year is not going to do this year. What we'd like to do is get to the point where we know that 90% of people who are HIV positive are on therapy.
And a man is in police custody today following the circulation of a graphic video showing a white pit bull killing another dog. Police say thanks to the assistance of Animal Control, the Bahamas Humane Society, and members of the public, the man they believe to be the owner, who encouraged his dog to kill another dog, is in police custody. Here's Giorgio Bain.
The 3-minute and 2-second long video made its rounds on social media last week. Within the first 20 seconds of the video, the person recording can be heard saying, "Kill Sean, kill boy," as the white pit bull seemingly tears into the brown pot cake on what appears to be a local beach. With each bite, the brown dog can be heard whimpering and crying for its life.
Kill Sean. Kill boy. Kill Sean. Kill.
Several seconds later, the brown dog is limp and silent. The owner of the dog then telling him to bring the lifeless body of the dog to him.
That's 3 under the belt now. That's 3 under the belt.
President of the Bahamas Humane Society, Kim Arana, said the video made her physically ill.
I can't tell you how disgusted, upset, my stomach turning. There are no words for the way I felt. I actually couldn't watch the whole thing. Had to let my son watch it and then explain it, tell me exactly what happened. I got as far as the little dog wagging its tail in submission, saying, "Okay, I'll do whatever you want, just I'm all right, I'll roll over on my back." And then the little big dog was told, and the big dog, you could see, he sort of was looking as if to say, well, okay, I've won the game. And then he was told to kill. For each count of cruelty, there is a sentence of $5,000 and or 6 months in jail. Now, if you commit more than one cruelty, it can stack up.
Arana says she is heartbroken over the possible setbacks that this video may cause.
It's been one of my objectives to link up with the pit bull owners and the bully club and say, let's work together, let's get rid of this stigma, let's get people to appreciate and like and love pit bulls. This has put us 15 years backwards. It's put the owners themselves backwards because people are now going to think that every man who owns a pit bull likes to see it kill. And it's put the animal backwards because everybody's going to think that all pit bulls kill.
According to Arana, the next course of action would be to have the dog evaluated to see if he can be rehabilitated before any consideration is given to putting him to sleep. Reporting for our News, I'm Giorgio Bain.
Still to come on our News, Tasty Tuesdays is taking a bite out of the Three Tides Fish House. And the fate of the old post office building is set. That and more when our News returns.